Is caregiving overwhelming you to the point where you feel guilty taking care of yourself?
One step closer to who I'm meant to be. A brand new chapter, a brand new start, a brand new start. It's my turn now to follow my heart.
Hey girl, hey. Welcome back to class. Today we're talking about a subject that affects millions of people around the world, especially women over 50. And it's the reason why I wasn't able to post last week. Caregiving, and how it could prevent you from seizing the best years of your life. To start, you're not alone. I'm in the exact same boat with you. However, as opposed to allowing this responsibility, which in my case is an honor, I have created a life balance. I am now assisting my parents who are in their 80s understand that I must create time for my own self-care and growth. In my particular instance, I'm the only surviving child. There is no one else. And my cousins, who would definitely step up and help me, are in the same set of circumstances. They're taking care of aging parents. My sons do live in the same state. However, they all live more than 100 miles away. As well, I believe it's vitally important for them to not only work, but also enjoy their lives. Now, that doesn't mean they wouldn't help if I asked. And they have come to my rescue in the past, not because of my parents, but because of other extenuating circumstances. So, without a doubt, I know I can count on them. However, this time, their mamas figured it out by using her talents and resources. But how about you? Maybe you're caring for aging parents, a spouse, or a child with disabilities. Or maybe you're caring for everyone except yourself. Is any of this resonating with you so far as to reasons why you forgot you were also important? If so, I want to ask you one simple question for today's lessons. What's going to happen to the people you take care of if something happens to you? Now, before you answer that question, let me be honest. Most caregivers are some of the most loving, selfless, generous people on the planet. You put everyone else's needs ahead of your own. You make appointments, you fill prescriptions, you drive people where they need to go. You manage schedules. You solve problems. You carry emotional burdens that nobody else even sees. And somewhere along the way, many caregivers begin to believe that taking care of themselves is selfish. But today, I want to challenge that belief. Because what if you get sick? What if you become injured? What if you become physically unable to provide care? Or worse, what if you die? I know that's an uncomfortable thing to think about, but the reality is every last one of us has an expiration date. Most of us simply don't know when that is, which means that if someone depends on us, we have a responsibility to prepare for the possibility that one day we may no longer be here. And that's not being negative. That's being responsible. Now, let me ask you a sobering question. Do you have family members you could count on? Do you have friends who could step in? Do you have siblings? Have you ever asked them? Because sometimes we assume people won't help when the truth is we've never given them the opportunity. And if they were willing to help, maybe it's time to start letting them. Not because you're failing, but because you're planning. You're creating a support system. You're creating a backup plan. You're creating a safety net, not just for the people you're caring for, but also for yourself. Now, you might be thinking, no one can take care of my loved one the way I do. And you may be right. But do you understand that the only way you got good at what you do is because it was through daily practice and effort? Who cares if they mess up? As long as the person willing to help you is capable and they'll come back, let them. They'll get better. And as they get better, you get to take deep breaths and sighs of relief that you're not the only one who can help the people you love. And if the person you asked is a loved one, family member, or sibling, and they're unwilling to help, tell them this. I want to be sure I understand exactly what you're indicating to me, because I'm going to use that same message to spread it to everyone and anyone I know in the event you're faced with the same set of challenges. Now, a little confrontational? Yeah. But if they have a modicum of empathy, they'll understand. Otherwise, take a sigh of relief. You didn't need them to help your parents or loved ones anyway. Alternatively, if you have the financial resources available to you, but you refuse to use them because you're the only one on the face of this earth who is capable of doing things correctly, stop it. Stop that right now. That used to be me. I am type A with OCD, always wanting to put the finishing touches on everything, always want a helicopter over everything. But what I learned is I'm isolating people when I do that, especially capable people who have their own style and way of doing things, but the outcome is still the same. If they want to help, if they desire to participate, please, for the love of God, give them the opportunity to try and nurture and encourage them so that ultimately it's a win-win for everyone. Your loved one gets cared for, which allows you the free time needed to refocus on your life periodically, because we all need self-care. Sometimes what we call dedication is actually control. Sometimes what we call sacrifice is actually fear. Fear that nobody else will do it as well as we do. Fear that things won't be perfect. Fear of letting go. But perfection is not the goal. Sustainability is. Because if you continue being the entire support system for another person while completely neglecting yourself, eventually two people will suffer. You and the person you love. A quote I heard last year stopped me dead in my tracks. Don't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Let that sink in. Now, I'd like to share a personal story with you, which is extremely hard for me, but it'll bring my point home. When my son was 14 years old, he began passing out during track practices. Doctors initially thought that he was developing asthma. They were wrong. He was eventually diagnosed with a congenital heart defect. And before you knew it, he was in the hospital waiting for a heart transplant for 9 months. That's 9 months of uncertainty, 9 months of fear, 9 months of watching my oldest child fight for his life. And at that time, I was his single source of support because his biological father was not really involved. I was also raising my younger twin sons with my then husband, who stepped up in a way I will always appreciate. Every day I would go to work. Every day after work, I would drive to the hospital. Every day I would spend time with my oldest son. And every day I would leave for about an hour to take a walk. But one afternoon, my son started crying. He looked at me and said, "Mommy, please don't leave. Please stay." And my heart was shattered. Everything inside me wanted to stay right next to him, but I knew I couldn't. So I told him the truth. I explained that I had to keep working so that his insurance coverage remained intact. I explained that I walked because I needed to stay healthy. Because if I wasn't healthy physically and mentally, I couldn't advocate for him. I couldn't make good decisions. I couldn't be the mother he needed me to be. And I went on my walk after I kissed him on his forehead and told him how much I loved him. Then came the next day, and I felt so guilty. I told him I wouldn't go on my walk. Do you know what he said to me? "Mommy, go walk. I get it now. Thank you for caring for me." That lesson changed my life. My son understood something many adults struggle to understand. Taking care of yourself is not abandoning the people you love. It's protecting your ability to continue loving them. My son received his new heart. He survived. I kept my job. My family worked together to support both of us. And somehow, one day at a time, we got through it. Was it easy? Absolutely not. Would I preferred to have sat by his bedside every minute of every day? Without question. But I learned something that I have never forgotten. The better I can care for myself, the better I can care for others. So today, I leave you with this question. Are you truly unable to make time for yourself? Or have you convinced yourself that exhaustion is proof of love? Because they're not the same. Being overwhelmed is not a badge of honor. Being burned out is not a requirement for being a good caregiver. And sacrificing your future happiness doesn't make you a better person. It just makes you tired. So tell me in the comments, who is the one person you could ask this week for help? I'd love to know your thoughts. And if this message helped you, please subscribe, like, and share this video with someone who you believe needs to hear it. I'll be back. You can count on it.
It's your turn now. Take the first step and prioritize yourself. Oh, oh. You had nothing but success waiting for you, nothing but success.